Alright, I should be good. I think it's recording. Alright.
Big tracking.
How long does...
Why don't you make just robot in T?
Everyone vote right now. Max is gone.
Vote.
Instant kill on almost every hero.
Why are you yelling at me in the VoD?
Vote kick Max Dementio.
Stop yelling at
All
me.
right, so for this VoD review, I've been asked to really pay attention to the comms, the teamwork. I've heard that this is sort of something that we're working on, and it's kind of a work in progress. So we'll try to keep this in mind as we're reviewing.
Maybe Junkrat would work, or Dive, or Tracer or something. I don't know. It's like
It's Doom.
or
Yeah.
Doomfist. Yeah, Doomfist would work too.
I don't play much Doomfist.
God, I
though.
sound so cringy.
Everybody thinks that.
I'll be
about their voice.
sacrificing anyway. It doesn't matter. I'm as
I
good
think
as
Honestly, I think I sound pretty badass, you know.
We need you alive for the Discord.
Honestly.
Okay, everybody but Hyacinth.
Yeah, I'm probably like the coolest person here.
All right, so is this the comp that we end up running out with?
I think everything but Doomfist.
You run Genji, I think. You need to practice.
No, let's run goats just with dive tanks.
Yeah, just run Ghost with Dive tanks.
Oh yeah. This is when I have big brain.
So I don't. And I like. Yeah. That's what speed boost is for.
Okay, so we're going for the goats with the dive tanks. This is interesting comp, and it's definitely gotten a lot more interesting with the addition of Hammond. I did a little bit of theory crafting with some other coaches that I know, and this is one that we came up with. We like to call heavy dive. So the idea is, well, we have a slight variation on it though, of course, but the idea is that we're doing essentially what a dive does, but we're throwing the Hammond in there and causing a lot of chaos towards the middle of the action.
By any chance, do you put a Genji in there or a Doomfist?
This is something that I argue with a lot. I'm one of the only coaches I know that says Genji.
No, I agree with you 100%. Genji works.
Yeah,
It depends on the map for me.
and the idea for this is you're doing a lot more damage instantly with Hammond here, and with Genji you're more able to quickly follow up on the lower health enemies.
I think on defense or on maps with high ground, accessible to the offense, Doomfist is better. But on offense in general, Genji is better.
Yeah.
Doomfist thrives on being able to use his E to get in and cleave, and then having the ability to punch out. And if he doesn't have that high ground, then he's going to be pretty weak.
Yeah, Doomfist is real interesting with this comp as well, especially because of the amount of CC he provides on top of Hammond's. Yeah.
And burst.
Well, we actually ran a variation of heavy dive today, and one thing that I told my DPS player that really helped him out was to just simplify his play. Basically, you're looking to go in and kill steal from your tanks. You're just looking to go in and follow your tanks and follow up on like the low health. Like that's your job. It keeps the Genji in this comp from trying to do too much, which can result in him getting picked, not being in the fight when he's needed, and not getting the appropriate farm he probably should be getting.
It's an interesting way to say it.
Mike, you're so fast, dude. What the hell?
Wait, where are they?
Oh yeah, this is when everybody was reacting Hammond.
Yeah, you want to be cautious of this. Hammond is a lot faster than the rest of his team.
No, yeah, no, I use it to scout.
This took too long, in my opinion.
Yeah, but this was the first time we ever ran the comp.
tried it. So
Yeah.
we got better at it today, I think. Or I don't know if we did it better today, but they had a hard counter on top.
Right, so we call the Mercy low and back. It looks like our tanks went top and our Brig opted to go bottom. This is kind of our only option, of course, but it's good. We probably want our tanks to push in deeper, and as this play develops, we'll probably see why.
It's hard to get up through top. I've conceded trying to slam, and I want to go through, and then I can jump over the ledge and then slam. but I can't. It's really risky to try and go for the slam to get onto it.
Yeah,
'Cause it's a low high ground. Low
it's
ceiling.
really difficult in the situations where like it's kind of like a window, right, that you have to go through.
And I've gotten good at getting through them, but it's hard to also slam because there's a certain height. You basically need to be Hammond level above the ground to use that slam, which can be pretty
Yeah.
difficult when you're trying to go through a window. So
I guess the
just
best.
going through.
Yeah. I guess the best advice that I would have for that is probably use your grapple as close as you can. So when you swing, you get your momentum through, and you still get some amount
Yeah,
of
you get
CC
height.
provided, and you never know if a couple of the supports fall off back. You still have your cooldown able to slam on top of them from
Yeah, that's what I was
this
thinking.
height.
Like I go
This
through,
is
and if anybody's there, I slam on the back.
Yeah, this is kind of what I have my Hammond player thinking on my team. You want to look not only to use all your cooldowns at once. You want to look for opportunities like this. Like, say you still have your slam cooldown right here. And you're able to just use it without using your cable. This should be the case for almost any Hammond defensive entry. Like when you're playing Hammond on defense and you're entering, you should always be looking to use your slam without your cable. And the reason for this is with your, I mean, it's the strongest movement ability in the game.
One thing I'm not entirely sure about that, because one thing that cable and slam does is it provides more burst. So if you can do that combo, you can knock people around and then full dive. Because one of the risks is if you're trying to use cable in a mid fight, is you can get body blocked. You need like 5 to 10 meters to actually get that speed boost, and it's very risky to try and do that in the middle of a fight. So it's better to just go for burst if they're running an anti-Hammond comp. If they're running standard dive like Zen Mercy, you can dive the backline and not have to worry about that because the tanks will be in the front. But if it's a core composition, you want to use it to engage with.
Yeah, I'm talking about cable here as purely a movement ability rather than an ability to
CC.
And
burst
essentially. And the reason for this, as I was saying, is it's by far right now the strongest movement ability in the game.
Yeah.
Like cable is right now the reason why Hammond is as busted as it is. Like in talented heads, like you can really do a lot with it as far as you can be in situations that you wouldn't be able to be in on any other hero, and as long as you have cable, you can get out of that situation almost scot-free.
It's almost like Diva, in all honesty. Him and Diva have two of the best mobilities to escape, because you have a limited mobility, but the limits on it are not limited by just forward or upward momentum. You can basically go wherever you want as long as you have the angle right and you have enough momentum to get it going with Hammond. Diva, you can just press shift and you can just move the direction. So
plus Hammond's movement speed as a ball is also really fast.
Yeah. Hammond's movement in general, it's I mean in situations where like where like you still would have it up, like you would probably be looking to either get out of a situation that you've gotten yourself into that's really risky, but really rewarding, or you're looking to chase down staggers that maybe would be getting away scot-free. Hammond is really good at this, and you should always be looking to I tell my Hammond player, if he gets in trouble and he doesn't know what to do, kite back. If he's like behind the enemy team, kite back, because your movement ability is actually so strong that you can kite teams around like idiots. I tell my guys, never chase the Hammond, like ever. Like I don't even care. Just never chase him.
Yeah, we learned
because
to. Playing your Hammond.
Yeah. I think this is actually when I figured that out.
Yeah, we thought their Hammond overextended once, and he just rolled away.
Yeah, that's Hammond for you. That's true. Like, here I would have slammed, on all honesty. If you didn't, I would have saved it until this point, because then you would have bursted down the Diva, and everyone else would have been down.
At the time, I was still learning the basics of like team coordination.
Juice.
Which is fine.
Because I had never played him in a team environment like this.
So well. And it's gonna get really hard.
Hammond today was really good.
It's hard to play in a team environment, and the reason for this is individual play shines with Hammond. But
Yeah.
what I tell my guy is that he needs to do his thing as far as playing Hammond. Like if he sees a play, if he sees a potential play, definitely by all means go for the play. But calm that you're doing it. Calm that you're doing it to your team, and calm the results. Um, for instance, like I got really mad at my guy today because he was backlining, he was killing a bunch of people, he was doing great. And then coming to finish off like a low health diva, he knows that he couldn't, doesn't commit to his team, dies to the baby diva at 11 HP, and still doesn't calm that he died to a 11 HP diva. This is a problem, and this arises mostly when players are going for these playmaker plays, which is
Yeah.
okay, especially as a DPS player and especially as Hammond. It's okay, but calm that you're doing it. Like that could mean the difference between a follow up on that last kill or maybe a little bit of peel. You know, even if your teammates can't do anything about it, calm it. It affects things. Like
Yeah. It's all
if your
decision
tank
making.
line, yeah, if your tank line recognizes that, you know, you're on Mercy in the back and she's 1 HP, but you're really deep, they know that that might be a good opportunity to push their front line while their resources are committed on the back.
Yeah.
You know, it could mean the difference. You
I
just
think
need
It's
to
a
that's
be
one
massive
thing
calm.
I
game of
did.
chess.
I
Yeah,
don't
absolutely.
remember.
Yeah.
Something I did. I think it was the day after this. Is I went really far into the back line, and as Hammond, and I calmed that there were people distracted, and we were still setting up for a while. But one thing that I do make sure to do is tell people if I'm distracting anybody, like who's out of the fight because I'm just being a nuisance.
Also, there are things like Junkrat's trap that can just destroy you. If you
Yeah,
get trapped with
I've
a
been watching
Junkrat,
out for those if they have
or even a
ability.
soldier just shreds Hammond,
He
regardless,
does.
because
yeah.
it has massive hitbox.
Yeah, this is part of the theory crafting
Oh, yeah.
that I did actually. Um, like of course, thinking of Hammond comps, you have to think of anti-Hammond comps, and one really good one that a lot of people think is going to be solo heal Moira, which sounds really weird.
Not really.
With the off tank player playing on the Soldier 76, and then
Yeah.
maybe going
Doom jump.
Widowmaker and like maybe a close range threat like Junkrat or Tracer.
What we found was also pretty decent against Hammond was like Roadhog with Soldier and Mercy Zen, and you just like
Hmm.
discord the Hammond and damage boost the Soldier, and so the
Yeah,
Soldier.
Soldier seems like a very viable counter, and with
Yeah.
the recent rework to the damage fall off, you're gonna see a lot more of Soldier and McCree coming back, and a
Yeah,
lot
we
of
played
the
against him on
gladiators
Numbani.
runs.
At
Like,
first, like
you'll
the
see him a
first
lot.
2 pushes, we got destroyed, but then I changed my angle of attack and we destroyed them the rest of the push on Numbani.
Anyway,
yeah. I would definitely recommend that people start getting flexible, especially on hit scan. Especially people that maybe aren't used to playing him so much.
Will I ever
I mean,
not play main
that's
tank?
the issue with triple tank dives. It's
No.
so aggressive in your face, and like if you don't,
They're always
if
being
you
for
don't
one.
get the
I think.
hell out,
like
if you don't
again,
get out, you're
here
gonna
I
lose.
get that it's new, but we wasted a lot of comms here. Comms are very cluttered, and then they going away.
Mm.
But then there's no communication. Now there is again. So there's too much and then not enough.
Okay, so this is really interesting here. And this is kind of like where lack of comms comes in. So our main tank here, and our diva here, has nothing to do with positioning. Has nothing to do with where they're standing currently. It's just about current awareness. You guys should be completely in sync, almost, with your movement abilities.
Brian isn't here.
Yeah,
Okay.
Brian's not here.
Well, if
He's an
like,
off tank.
yeah, hopefully Brian will like see the video.
Yeah,
Alright,
we're
but-
recording it, I think.
Yeah, I'm recording it right now.
He's gonna see it later, so everything you say will be absorbed by his giant brain.
Good. Well, if Brian can hear this,
Hey, Brian.
the
Brian, I love
entire
you.
game, you guys should be having a
Hey.
sort of conversation, right? And the conversation should have something. It should go something like I see Zen. Can I go on Zen? It's like I don't have movement. 3 seconds.
Yeah,
Or,
we did
okay,
a lot
like,
of that today.
Yeah, this is something that should be constantly going on between you two. Soft dives are one thing, but engaging with one and then engaging with another is never a good thing to do.
Yeah.
If
At least something that
it's
sorry.
okay, it's one thing if like Diva peels and then Winston maintains space, but aggressively taking space with one or the other and then the other is not good. This needs to be unanimous. Like, and I recommend like even this setup is good. Like you can go at different angles. Dive is all about uh, individual play shining on the same target. You know what I mean? So like this
Basically,
could happen, but yeah, you guys should be completely in unison regardless of where you're standing. This is the difference between Dive and like Ryan Zarya as far as tank play goes. Like you guys are still the Ryan Zarya of the team. Like you guys should be that in sync. That doesn't mean you have to stand next to each other, but you guys should be in that sort of groove. So our diva comes up here, gets some information. She's now used her movement ability. Our main tank is staying put. We are just maintaining space, not really taking risks until a diva's movement comes back. We're not able to aggress until our movement comes back. Our Winston now commits his movement, and he's now in a very scary place because he's up here, strikes out of sight. I assume the other healer's out of sight. He's now in a very scary place to get picked off or take a lot of damage, and he's definitely going to be feeding all the
Yeah,
damage that he takes
this-
here because it's not getting space.
This was a spot where we were thinking of switching to Mercy because Moira couldn't really heal from that far. And when our tanks went up there, it was like, okay, what do we do?
What we settled on is for attack, it's Mercy Lucio, and for defense, we can do Ana Mercy. And if it's Ana Mercy, we play more passive, but we can also do Mercy Lucio on defense and be more aggressive.
Yeah, I would say any really map with high ground that's not predetermined that you're going to be there. Like Gibraltar is one thing because you pretty much know on defense that you're going to set up on the high ground. You're going to keep that as much as possible. But maps like this where the fight can take place on high ground unexpectedly, you probably want to be running Mercy by default, especially on this phase. This might need to be an instant switch.
Like you can even run a Widowmaker here. Like I was recommending running Widowmaker instead of if they've got the Mercy and the Lucio Mercy Den, because the Widowmaker.
I recommend Widowmaker here as well.
Yeah, it adds the extra pick potential, and it also creates the threat of an instant kill to most targets.
Yeah,
and
never be afraid.
Space.
Yeah, never be afraid to go with Widowmaker at any point in time. She's the most busted hero.
Pretty good hero. Pretty good hero.
The only time you need to be careful of it is if your team can't make the space for you to actually do your job as Widowmaker, then you need to get off Widowmaker and go like something like Soldier or McCree.
But
triple tank.
But that's very rare.
The thing is about this is like we're all about making space, right? Like
oh yeah, this is what this comp's designed for.
Unfortunately, we're not here because.
Haha, I'm just poking. Hello. I'm a good main tank. I swear.
That was always good.
I saw some of those similar mistakes too.
Okay, so we did a little bit of a better job here. I don't think it was calm so much though.
No, it's honestly the comms aren't terrible. It's more like a conversation, which is kind of what you're going for.
So he gave a heads up. He said, "I'm ready for another engage," and then we go. So this is pretty good. Our two tanks go, and this is actually not too bad. It could be better. So it's always important to look at the takeoff of a dive. This is the most important part. Particularly especially now with three tanks, you need to look at the order we're going and the order we're landing. This now matters with a three tank dive. So ideally, you always want the Winston going. Your Winston is your main tank. This is the person that is ideally your target caller, who's going to be designating what's happening. This is also the person, unfortunately, for you taking the CC. You want your Winston to take the CC as much as possible.
Welcome to sandbagging.
Absolutely. And of course, your initial bubble is determining where the fight is happening. Um, then I feel like, and some people disagree with me on this, and this is something I believe very strongly in. Uh, I I feel like the Hammond should be the next
Yeah,
one.
I think so.
Oh yeah, I
A,
think so as well.
Knocks people up,
yeah,
and then you follow up with the
yeah,
diva.
absolutely. A, because it's impossible to get him to go after the diva. It just is. Hammond
Yeah.
is too fast. Um, Now keep this in mind as you see what happens here. Our monkey actually jumps first before our Hammond reaches top speed. But look what happens here. Our monkey is still in the air and our Hammond is touchdown. E- This is like the first mistake that we can make in this comp. The monkey now needs to go way before the Hammond.
That's how-
I tell I tell my Hammond player like he is not even grappling until the monkey jumps, until he sees the monkey jump. And
Yeah, that's what I've been thinking. Because it always feels better. I don't know why.
yeah,
But it
you're
always
gonna
feels
go
better
so
whenever
fast.
the monkey goes in first. Because he takes all of the damage that I might take, and then I can go in and help the monkey by knocking people around, making their jobs harder. So that's why I've been having Hyism call out most of the engages. Whenever it's
Absolutely.
like there's specific situations where I am saying that I'm grappling, but he goes at like the same. He jumps as I say I'm grappling, so it's basically the exact same time where we land. We did pretty well on Nepal for that, I think.
With this
Absolutely.
comp, it has to be very clean though as well, because
Yeah.
Yeah,
with this version of
it's a
dive, if you
quick.
don't run it clean, you can get easily punished.
It was very clean on new
It's
VoD.
it's a quick 1, 2, 3, but definitely the most important part of this is the last part, um, which looks like she does a pretty good job.
I messed up. I
The
didn't mean to go
diva,
that far.
You did like a loop de loop.
yeah, the diva is definitely like the most important part of this, right? And I tell my diva player, like his job, his only job before anything else is to pay attention to your guys' cooldowns. Um, Doing this keeps Hammond and Winston in the fight for so long. As Winston's providing all that arc damage, Hammond is a beast up close. And the longer Hammond's allowed to stay up close, the better. The supports also need to realize that this is happening, and this is going to be a scary place for our off support if we're playing the Zenyatta. If we're playing the Lucio, you probably know that you should be going with. I know it's a little bit hard here. The movement's a little bit tricky, but the Lucio does need to be going with this. If you need to like get a little bit aggressive beforehand, get some momentum and
Climb
get
up the
there.
wall.
Yeah, but the Lucio needs to be in this, and I assume our other healer is Moira, not able to go. But our main healer does in some way. That's why Moira probably isn't the best option here.
Yeah.
We went Mercy on attack.
Yeah, definitely Mercy's a better option. I still think Widowmaker would have been the right pick instead of the Brig.
I don't like the Brig pick on second either.
Yeah, which is why I
It's
prefer
okay on first. I think Genji's still better on first for the follow up. Like she can get into the
Yeah.
back line, but so can Genji.
Brig is almost. I
the
mean,
issue is
CC.
I would play her there almost more as like a reactionary, like kind of thing. Like if you have to play Brig, but
The best way to play Brig in that situation would be like if we're getting pressured, we fall back to the Brigida.
yeah. So one thing that I say a lot is you never want to be caught playing Brig without a specific job. Brig really shines at doing specific things very well. If you find yourself not doing one of those certain things, it's probably not a good idea to be on the Brig. There's probably more. There's probably better options that you could be going with. And the reason for this is just she's so limited as far as being counterplayed.
I can't follow you guys up there.
Yeah, maybe just switch to Zano.
I mean, alright.
You could go like Hanzo or whatever you want.
All right, so we're going with the Genji pick. Our idea here is probably what, right? Probably reaching the back line,
I think
interfering
we
with the
called to go
Widowmaker
for
a
the
little bit.
Widow.
Okay,
And Mercy instead of, yeah, I'm not sure.
I really like Genji in this comp.
Lucio, Mercy.
I almost got the Widow.
Okay, I can dive anybody.
I have Prime Lock.
I have
I
wall
can
hacks.
dive the Widow.
I'm gonna go and fall asleep on the
One
deck.
thing that would help a lot is if our tanks could duo more often, because even though they've got good synergy with each other, the issue is they're not always on the same page, which does come with playing comp and duoing.
Oh yeah,
and
oh
spending
yeah.
time with each other doing that. 100%.
I made my tanks play Minecraft together, and they
But
I've got
it
her
doesn't
realm.
matter. Regardless of what it is, the reason why it's so important is because if they're not on the same page, you're calling two different targets, and then dive becomes ineffective. That's why we want them to duo, which is why we want you to duo with Brian. Is
Yeah.
because
Brian.
it more
Does Brian
streamlined.
have a Minecraft account?
it should definitely feel like you guys are having a conversation with each other for 2 hours. Like that's what it should feel like. Like you say something, Brian responds. Brian says something, you respond. It should
So,
be like that the whole game.
like a jazz or a blues bat, like a blues sesh.
And then the team is just like a bunch of eavesdroppers that listen in and follow what you call, basically. In all reality, that's probably the best way to describe it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
They have walls.
Yeah, watch out. We should wait a bit. Yep.
I've got so many
Just
arrows in
arrows?
me. Look at that.
Try and scout where their Zen is. They're gonna drag it.
That was,
Sounds was alone. It's
Wait,
right next to me.
what?
Alright, nice.
we're not here for that. We're here for comms mainly.
Where's Zen? Where's Zen? Oh, I see Zen. I see Zen.
He wasn't.
All right, so I see Zen.
I'm
Where's
good at call
Zen?
outs.
Where's Zen? Oh, I see Zen. I see Zen.
He
Where?
wasn't.
Yeah, I'm working
where?
on it.
Where? How?
We're yeah. So
Why?
Who,
we're
where, what?
Who, what, where, when, and
we're
why, and how, and
we're in the setup phase of a dive. I see Zen as a good start because that's who we're looking for. That's who we're all looking for. But at the same time, I mean, I feel like this call is kind of ignored, and the reason for this is our main tank here should definitely be wanting to know where Zen is. So I mean, ask him to clarify. Ask him where. This is why I say like comms are never in one direction. Comms are never one person's fault. It's all you guys. You know what I mean? If somebody doesn't comm something, why didn't you comm to them to comm it? You know what I mean? Like he just said that he saw Zen and he didn't say where, but you
Big
should be
gossip.
wanting to know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In reality, it's like a big gossip group. The point of it is so everyone gets the information,
dead?
and if not one
Are you
person
here?
says it, it gets to everyone anyway, regardless of who says it.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
really
here.
what comms should be,
Zen right
but
there.
it's a little more complicated than basic.
Yeah, you guys are talking to each other. It's just as important to listen to a comm as it is to make the comm. Like listening to it is half of it. Like you guys should have all heard that he saw where Zen was, but he didn't comm where Zen was. Because I mean that's who we're looking for. That's we're running dive, you know.
Alright, Winston, one. Winston and Zen. Alright. Zen's half. Alright, use strengths. Yeah.
Okay, this is a good comm. I like this. We're laying out a strategy for our team and we're all following through.
Alright, now
This should just be a soft reset. Move back a little bit because you've lost people, but you guys are doing
I
that.
have
You-
blade. Hanzo's half up top. Alright, there he is. He's full HP now. He's full HP. Yeah, I'm ready.
3, 2, 1.
This is really good. DPS players don't do this enough. Calming that he was healed, like it's just as important to calm when someone's healed as it is to calm when they're low. The reason for this is you calm that he's half. If our monkey full commits by himself, thinking that he's gonna get a free Hanzo kill, and then he's sorely mistaken, that's on you. You know, like hey man, you said he was half. Even if he got healed, like you did see that he got healed, so you said something like that's really good. DPS players need to do this more because DPS players see so much of this. Like I watch you guys. I watch DPS players all day. Like you see so much of that. and it's not calmed enough. It's impossible to calm it all the time. I understand it's kind of an on the fly thing, but think about how that helps your team. You know what I mean?
He's dead. When he's blade.
This is a good full commit.
Nice. Is there Mercy up top?
I wish you guys would call a little more like no more ults.
Widow's on Saloon, I think.
Like there are a lot of times,
behind.
which is not all the time, but there are times when you guys overcommit.
I try to do that. I always say, like, watch ults.
Yeah.
You
And
should say watch. You should say just no more. Once the fight is won.
I'm saying, like, watch ult usage. Like, that's what I mean. I can rephrase it, but I'm saying, like, watch ult usage.
Well, I feel like watch is almost better in a way, because if say we're losing the fight, then we can still use an ult to get it back. But if we say no ults and everybody thinks that like we can't use ults, like like we know that we still can, but like your mind automatically thinks like we cannot use ults.
Yeah.
Whereas if you say watch
long
it,
as
they
the
focus
call
on
is
not
The fight,
using.
but they could turn it back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that's
exactly.
the idea of when you call no ults, is you can call it, but then through when you're done, you can say, okay, use ults, and it's that. If you say
Yeah.
maybe, you can over invest a lot if you aren't careful. With that, it's if they do it, it's fine, but they shouldn't. And when you say no ults, you shouldn't be using it because you guys don't have this issue as much. But a lot of times, is they'll overcommit ults, and that's just a problem for a lot of people. So that's
Remember
why
when
it's
we
important.
used 5 ults on new money defense today?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that's one of the rare cases.
I was watching a scrim from a contenders EU team. I can't remember the name of it.
Six snakes.
But they were their comms really interesting. As far as like they calmed every time that they were in a team fight. They like somebody said or everybody said we're fighting. That's like I feel like that's really good as far as like everybody getting the picture that everybody's committed, like we're committed in a team fight. I mean that could even be a thing as far as like you know, if somebody says no ults, it's you're kind of just mopping up, you know. But if contests start coming in and it starts to get overwhelming, somebody could say, you know, that okay, we're fighting. This is a team fight now. This wasn't before, but it is a team fight now.
How about
So-
we have a specific call like cleaning up, where cleaning up means that it's within, like, you have the advantage and it looks like you're going to win, but if somebody accidentally spills a drink, then you're going to have to invest more, right? That's my analogy.
That comes down to more personal preference, though, from the team.
Yeah, like cleaning up is pretty similar to like, you know, no ults, right? Because you don't want to use ults because you are cleaning up the fight. But I mean, if you guys feel like okay, like a team fight is happening now, and like everybody might not be aware of it, that's something that probably needs to be calmed.
Most of the time, we're on the same page about that.
Okay.
I'm with you on Zen.
So
They're good about
yeah, so there shouldn't really be a problem about knowing that you guys can use ults. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel like that should just be another thing that like you guys can use ults even if, you know, somebody says no ults. That doesn't dictate whether you can or can't use ults. You know, if like your judgment as players, if it is in fact, you know, fine, like you guys know that you can use ults.
It's more of a recommendation than
Yeah.
anything. Most
Yeah.
of
We can talk
what
about
this
it
is
as like a
when you
full
calm
team after
is you recommend.
everybody sees
What
the
you-
VoD.
It doesn't mean that you should ignore it, but it just means most of it's a recommendation. So
Is there Mercy up top? Nice. Widow's on Saloon, I think. I know she's behind. Oh yeah, I see her. Nice.
This is good. Everybody should know where the widow is at all times, always. I tell my entire team this. Like, you guys should all know where he is. Specifically because there's probably somebody on your team that's hunting her down, whether you're playing the Widow, v Widow, or you're playing this like the Genji. Like, somebody is always looking to kill the Widow whenever possible.
Once you're scouted on Widow, your effectiveness goes down dramatically because you don't have
Yeah.
the element of surprise, and that's what that's
Oh, there's
basically
Zen on
calmed for.
Mega.
That's why it should be calmed.
Is it Hanzo?
Is to lessen the
Alright.
effect of the Widow.
I can go.
Outside of just letting everyone know who she is.
Whatever. Just kill these tanks.
Hanzo behind truck. On stage.
Come back towards car for heals.
Right, I'm backing off.
That was kind of sloppy from me, I think. I didn't have hook, and I should have calmed it. I did better today with that.
I have
But
blade soon. They
we
have
went in a
turrets.
little too early. If I was there to follow up with, then we could have made that a lot cleaner.
Ooh, this is
Messy.
so. Let's think about when this fight is done, and like, let's start looking at deaths past that.
Is it Hanzo?
So we get up one
Hanzo?
here. This is really good. We're looking for a chance
I
to
can
go
go
in. Our monkey just went in, and it's hard. It's hard watching Genji players and trying to pay attention to the tanks. But
Genji missile.
it seems like our tank players have pushed in here, and our Genji has chosen to take a duel, which is fine. Just know that you're not cleaning up kills here. Who's our other DPS player here? What's the?
We were doing
or
triple
we're-
tank with me. On
Yeah,
the
yeah, we're.
It's
we're-
Susanoo and Max.
Okay, so this is fine. Basically, we're taking the duel here. But we have to understand in this duel that at any time that Hanzo gets help, you're not going to. So this
Hanzo
should be
behind
something
truck.
in our mind, because our tanks have committed.
On stage.
All right, he got help. We should forget about him. That's good.
Right, I'm backing off.
All right, so we called the back off. Why did we call the back off?
Come back towards car for heals.
we were down on resources. We had
Okay,
used a lot of
so
ability.
so we're backing up and just regrouping. We're not backing completely off.
Because
I
they were like,
I mistook this call. Yeah, I mistook this call, and I think Shrike, did you as well? It looks like you're.
Yeah, I'm trying to get out, but then I got shot by Hanzo and then I died there. So
Okay, so
like
this
I was spinning this out.
is interpreted by 50% of the team as we are regrouping ultimate. I mean, we're regrouping cooldowns. This needs to be a different call than I'm backing off, and the reason for that is I'm backing off sounds like you're getting out. I even mistook it as that. I was under the impression that.
Call it soft reset, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
You disengage for a second and then you go back in. That's
Yeah,
why
yeah.
I call it. That's why they call it a soft.
Yeah, during a soft reset, I mean, you're still looking to maybe if you have a ranged ability, you're looking to maybe build some ult charge. You know, you're kind of fighting. You know.
You're basically in the war of poke.
you're just like poking. Yeah.
You're playing some plat poke. Like there's a time and place for it. You know. That this needs to be a designated call. Because our Lucio's taken off. I assume.
And dies. They do
Yeah,
die.
I assume
Yeah.
Our Genji's taking off here. It looks like. Another thing that we need to do, if we're doing it this aggressively, particularly, we need to calm where we're doing this, especially because you guys getting caught out here could be disastrous, and these guys getting caught out here could be disastrous. Right now, if you guys get engaged on and they're together, they win.
Right, I'm backing off.
We go down to Lucio here. We go down our Mac.
I have blades.
There's
we
gonna
have
be
Sloppy
turrets.
disengage.
It was. I guess it was more or less about sloppy, more about. So for me, when I'm watching Brian when he got out, like that was unfortunate, but you guys should have, in my opinion, I think you guys should have retreated through the small room on the right because it gives you a little more cover. Because you guys were standing in the open, allowing the Hanzo to have perfect line of sight on your diva, and that caused him to die. If you guys would have retreated through that
Yeah.
right small room, you would have had cover from the Hanzo, and that would have allowed you to use defense matrix and a recharge to get out without losing the mech.
I think I was just on the left side. I was going with the Genji, wherever that was. I don't know. It was a few days ago, but like, I was just going.
I definitely agree with that. This room right here is a very good path. The thing is about that is this RV, as silly as it is because it's so close, as silly as it is, the only way in hell that works is if you all do it together. Right? Like I've always said, stupid is okay in this game. This game rewards stupid. But
Didn't
it
actually
rewards
get fined for saying something like that?
You could.
well,
He
probably
didn't say
who knows?
stupid. He said
I mean,
something else.
by
but,
registry.
yeah, he
You
was
don't
I
lost
said
mentioning.
something like that.
Like
Yeah.
like it's okay to do silly things, so stupid things. It's okay to do them if you're doing them together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
That's almost
you're not
exact.
wrong.
That's what excuse you said.
It's almost
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean,
what
you're
it
not
is.
wrong though.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
Absolutely. It's definitely okay to play the game in ridiculous ways, like ways
That's what
that,
this whole
that
comp is about.
yeah, like it definitely is like you're shooting a giant ball through like the air, like it's so stupid,
Giant hamster ball.
yeah. But it works if everybody does it together. But if we shoot the giant ball through the air and he just shoots through the air and he's dead and then we lose, like that's how this game is designed, you know. I want you guys to think about that when doing anything, like even in scrims,
not hard.
like try things, set up aggressively, you know, but do it all together.
Yeah. I just want to say,
And-
I have played
before
soon, they
anything,
have
that I know
threats.
this was a mistake. I realized right after I did it that it was a mistake. I was trying to get Baby Diva, but I knew immediately it was an overextension.
And something very basic, just for the future, is
The monkey is probably at like 80 on
a
the whole.
full 6-man dive is very ineffective in all reality. It's good to do it all together, but there are reasons why flankers exist, like Genji, and that's so you can scout, get information, so your dives be more efficient. Because if you just go in as one unit, it's really hard to get that information, and you give up
Yeah.
map control and knowledge. So
Yeah, this is precisely why I say it's individual play onto a single target.
yeah,
I mean when I said setup, I realized I said setup. I probably shouldn't have said setup. The setup for a dive should look something like somebody coming from here, somebody coming from here, somebody jumping down from the high ground, somebody coming from here. You know, everybody's playing how they want to play, but we're on the same target.
yeah, just a collapse basically is what you're trying to create.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a dive that, you know, just runs in together, what happens if the other team has a Ryan Zarya, right? They run through it. The dive is looking to jump in, cause a lot of chaos, and separate targets. The dive isn't looking to run together, you know.
It's
This is
designed
why
to
I say,
isolate.
yeah, this is why I mean, particularly what the existence of Zenyatta does in dive. I understand how rough it is to play Zenyatta dive v dive. I like as a Zen player, it's rough, but sometimes you just gotta do it. Like what you do as far as existing as Zenyatta is so important. Like you're the person, like you're essentially the tank. Their front line is gonna commit all the way to you and leave their back line completely open. And then we're like this is why I hope you guys understand the philosophy of dive as far as counter diving versus peeling, right? That we're either doing one or the other as a team, but we're never doing any bit of both. This should be a comm that I haven't really heard too much of yet, if at all, but it needs to happen before every fight you have, dive v dive. If you're dive v dive, you are either counter diving, their tanks are using their movement, and you're using your movement into their backline, or I mean that's full in, or we're counter diving and peeling for the Zen with everything. But we're never doing a little bit of both. That is playing into the hand of dive. if the dive is able to break you up like that even more, it's gonna do more to you. And if the other team is committed on, and you have some people peeling but some people committed, um, this is bad. Like it's just gonna mop you up. It's hard to think about just letting the Zen die, but that's what happens if you're counter diving. It's just what happens.
He's the
It's my
scapegoat.
life.
He's the scapegoat.
My
If
life
you...
is a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is something we do for
your
you.
job
Our
is just
job is to make
your
it
job
hard
is just
to
to
quit.
maintain the payload if they give it to you. You know, if you get pushed, kite them back a little bit. You know, make them come farther. You know, just be annoying to play against, essentially, because
Yeah.
you're gonna die if your team counter dives. It's just what happens.
Unless you're
But
J-Jonek.
yeah, but you know, get some ult charge during it. You know,
Yeah.
spam the Winston's face.
For sure.
Or
And I
like
think
hit him
that's
back.
actually something that we could work on specifically is like I know occasionally we do the half like where Brian wants to peel and our main tank and DPS want to dive. Especially if we have Widow.
Yeah.
That's when it really happens a lot when we have our Widow. Brian wants to peel for the Widow and then the Genji Winston want to full commit, so then it ends up splitting our team and
Yeah,
Mm.
and as I'm saying this, like some of you probably even think that like, hey, well, like we've half dived and half not dived, and it's worked, you know, and it probably has. But if the other team is playing dive and they play it correctly, they are
Mm.
all on the same page. All six of them are on the same page. Uh, Playing half and half will never work 0% of the time.
yeah,
This is
so
why especially in tournaments that like at our ranking, you see just absolute stomps. Like as far as divey dive. There's some teams that like it's like 50% of the teams can dive and 50% of the teams can't. And the teams that can't, it's because they're going half and half.
mhm. So what I was gonna ask then, if we're running a Widow, you think we should do more of a peel based dive, and if we're running like a Tracer or a Hammond in this case, we should do more
No,
of a full commit.
You need to
if
make space for your Widow.
if your Widow is in that comp, which is fine. We run our Widow in that comp.
Mhm.
Like we run Dive Widow almost exclusively actually. Um, what I tell my Widowmaker is your hook is your life. That's your healing.
Mhm.
You know, you are playing difficult angles. You're playing very far away, and you're looking to duel. You're
Mhm.
looking to duel the other Widow if you have one. That is what you need to do first. Um, from then you're looking to make an impact. But Widow's one of those things. Existing provides a lot.
Mhm.
Winning that duel lets you go ham. You know.
In
Mhm.
all honesty, but I'd like to add one thing to that real quick, because you said existing. Well, yes, existing does provide a lot. There's a difference between, and like again, there's a difference between a good widow with like a 20% chance to kill you, or a good widow with 80% chance. You both create space, but the one who is more likely to kill you, who's more deadly, more accurate, and knows how to take those sight lines and take
Yeah.
advantage of that, that's more effective. So I just
Just
wanted to make
be
sure I added more information to that.
Yeah, just be scary, man. I mean, we've all played against one of those widows, you know, that it always seems like they're above
Facts.
you somewhere, you know?
Dude,
They
I played a game against a guy who was shitting on like a rank 60 Widowmaker one trick. I think that was so scary, dude.
Yeah,
And
I mean, they always seem to be
it
above
is.
you. They always seem to be in a weird spot, or they're always like too far away for anybody else to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
They're always behind a shield. It's annoying, you know?
It's like
Like
they're like 2 steps ahead of you, is what it kind of feels like all the
yeah,
time.
yeah. Be that guy. Think about what the enemy team has to do in order to get to you. And then on top of that, keep in mind of your cooldown. Grapple hook is very powerful. And I
It's also
think
been nerfed recently, back
yeah,
to 10 seconds. So
which is still pretty good as long as I mean now more so than ever, you need to be smart about it. Hook shots are awesome, you know. I fucking love hook shots. If you go for one, awesome. But don't just sit there and like and use that thing because it's a cooldown. You know, it's so strong, and you're gonna be playing in a place that nobody can help you, but you have a literal get out of jail free card. If you get dove on, you're kiting back instantly. You're kiting them deeper. Like make it super fucking annoying. Like if they want to kill you, they have to run to second point spawn. You know, that's just what they have to do.
Make them invest an unreasonable amount of resources to get you out of their face or out of their
Yeah.
backline to make sure you can't get value. But you want them to over invest resources, so then everywhere else they have lacking resources, which gives your team an advantage. Which is why Widowmaker's so strong in Overwatch League, is because
Yeah, if their tanks want to use their resources twice, their movement resources twice in order to kill you, let them, dude. That's stupid. Your team just won. There's no
massively overinvested into something that they shouldn't have.
yeah, and if they don't, you're safe, and you're gonna pop back in and shoot them in the back, or you're gonna pop back in and your tanks are gonna be in a place to pressure dive their Widowmaker where their tanks are still getting back to the fight. You know.
Or you pick up a support, because that's
Yeah.
something that happens a lot. If the tanks invest in you heavily, if they get away and disengage from you and you have the shot, you can just kill a support and there's nothing they can do about it. They can't defense matrix it, they can't hide because there's nothing they can do.
Absolutely, dude. If you're alive on Widow, you're doing something, essentially.
If not,
It's more effective if you have more damage, etc. But yeah, you still do something regardless.
Yeah, keep that in mind.
Widow's one. Alright, nice. Gem dead.
Oh, my pop-up blocker,
Nice
no
job.
work. Sorry about
Pop-up
this, guys.
blocker? You mean your
Yeah.
ad block?
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
I can't believe you used ad block.
I use it. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah,
I would tell you use ad block.
I only
Come
use
on.
2 different ad
Is
blocks.
Zarya
One that
next
blocks
truck?
everything on Twitch, and the
There are
other one that
children
blocks
in Africa
everything
who
on
could have
Twitch.
watched those ads.
Dead.
Ad block plus,
one.
ad block, U block origin, and ad block.
Gem dead.
One thing I don't like about Susano is with his Genji is he does dash way too much
Yeah.
and puts himself
Nice
in a
job.
risky situation without his dash.
We
This
saw
like-
earlier, he
is
dashed without even reloading.
busted,
You
by
would
the
never
way.
want to dash
Oh,
without
it is.
deflect.
I mean, dash is one of your get out of jail free cards. Genji has 2, which is his dash and his deflect. But if you use dash and you have deflect, you can only live so long. And the cooldown on dash is what makes Genji so useful. Because you can dash reset, which is why his ultimate makes with that it's insane. So I just don't like that personally, but that's just me being nitpicky and with Genji dashes. 'Cause
Yeah, I think
don't like that.
I feel like there's much like there's a couple play styles of Tracer. I mean, like Genji Dash, yes, it's very very powerful for getting away, and I feel like in
and it's
default,
unblockable entirely.
yeah, and in default situations, like that's what it should be used for. But there's definitely been Genjis like I said, like you've seen them. There's a couple in the Overwatch League.
Shadowburn, EQO, etc.
Yeah, your boy Dreamcast Pro was one of them. But
I
guys
miss
that
him.
I mean, he was a very good player.
Why does he have to be a pedophile?
I know, right? Poor Boston.
That was actually disappointing.
I was so
I
dude.
had
I
high
love
hopes.
Dream.
Would've been a
He was
top
like the
tier
only
team
reason I
if he
like
wasn't a
Boston.
perv.
He was so good.
I
anyway,
had hopes for him.
But then I
He's-
just I cringed so hard when I read those texts, dude.
he was a guy that used his Genji dash very very aggressively. I understand that sounds weird as I say that.
And it's not bad to use it aggressively. It's just if you're caught out.
Just like
Yeah,
if you're
Yeah,
caught,
just
just
ju-
you're
just
dead.
know that. Yeah, it's a high risk high reward. You
Yeah.
need to understand, like, as so long as
yeah.
you understand what happens if you don't perform.
You don't get caught.
the Dreamcaster dashed the wrong carbon and got caught.
Anywho, let's move on
Yeah,
before it gets weirder.
You have trance.
It's not weird enough, boys.
it's not
Is
really
Zarya
enough.
next to truck? Zarya behind. Zarya's
You can't
far.
even bring him up anymore.
Zarya wasted the bubble, honestly.
All right, this is juicy right here.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's juice.
If you're not talking about this to your team, you should be, because everybody needs to be saving cooldowns for this, especially because this is ending. Like, oh boy, this should win the game.
Like
Yeah,
that's one
trans.
thing I wish. Go see. Hold on. They have trans. Okay.
I believe.
Gotta keep on playing.
If I
Is it
recall
Zarya
correctly.
next to truck? Zarya behind. Zarya's half.
No one
personnel.
calls.
Alright, I'm gonna blade after this.
Okay, this is good.
Okay, that's fair.
This is about to be something that needs to be really urgent. You've made the pre-plan, which is I'm gonna blade after this. This is good. Your team should have acknowledged this, and they should be getting ready to pocket you. If not, that's on them.
Or back you up at least.
Yeah.
Yes, Asana, you hear that?
But at the same time, it's on you to get the help that you need for this. So there should be like a very loud like you should be screaming into the mic like pocket me, pocket me, pocket me. Everybody needs to be on this.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Everybody
Make sure
needs to be
you're
on
heard.
this. You need to be calling for pockets. You need to be that guy on ladder. You know, like that DPS on ladder that's always calling.
I
for the
need
mercy.
healing. I need healing. I need.
Yeah,
Yeah, you need that.
It's time to be that guy, and it's scrims. This is your team. It's okay to be that guy. You
Yeah.
know? If you need it, ask for it.
Don't be the guy in
I feel
plaid
like
who said
Susanoo-
I didn't know Reinhardt timings.
I feel like Susanoo, whenever he blades, he should just
Yeah.
let out a giant screech.
Where's your healing? You need
healing
healing right now.
Where's his help? Like,
Everybody should be on you. Everybody should be doing what you're doing. Like this is winning the game. This is our win condition. We should be all somehow making this better.
in all honesty, though, I don't like the targeting on the Mei because Mei did have ice block, so it was probably better to go away.
She used
Yeah,
ice
I
block.
don't either. But
Again,
if she's
ridiculous.
if she's never really as concerned with you on the first place, like if your team is on her, able to burst her, you know, you still have a chance. And if not,
The
like
other option
she
was-
has, yeah, she still has other people to worry about. Instead of like slowing you and making the blade less effective. So, I mean, it's very minuscule, but just imagine if we all devoted to it. I mean, imagine if we all devoted to it. Say maybe we don't focus the Mei first. Like what looked like to be a team kill a couple moments ago is now not, and we're now in trouble in this fight. We've lost our main healer.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is
Risky.
so we're calling Zarya on point. Like I say with the Genji always, as far as running dive tanks, like you're always looking to kill steal from your tanks. Like this is what you do. You're always gonna have this up. You're always gonna be zipping around. You're always gonna be confirming the kills. Like this, it's so important. Especially I know you just played it, and it's really hard. It's probably the hardest thing in the game. Like after you go for one of these plays to get back on page with your team, but this has to happen. If your main take calls something, it needs to be followed up on. The only exception with this is if you're literally getting a free kill.
I mean, maybe? Oh, never mind. Reaper's half? Reaper's 1 HP, Reaper 1 HP.
So you call the Reaper. Our tank doesn't acknowledge it though, and the call is still somebody else.
He's in Wraith though, so he couldn't have done anything.
Yeah. So we're calling the Zarya point. This should be everything. I don't know if that's the Zarya or the Mei.
That's the Mei.
That's a
That's
mess.
the Mei. Yeah. So that's who we're
Zarya doesn't.
fighting. But we need to be on this.
She did not have bubble either, so that was the perfect target.
Okay. So we call the Reaper, and
Yeah.
We got the Zarya.
okay.
Mei.
Okay.
They're racing, Mercy
I was
racing.
mistaken. I thought the Zarya was still behind. Mercy's one on the
At
back.
some point.
This is good. And it's like I like this. The DPS need to help with the target calling as well. Like you guys see when people are low HP. This needs to always be
I was really good at that.
yeah.
At Mei.
Which
Nice
is
job.
why in my notes I had written down, if your DPS can't follow up with you, it's not a good idea to go in, because you need to make sure your DPS can help with that as well.
Yeah. That's one
Yeah,
thing that
absolutely. Like it should be what you always consider, right? Like think about like if you're playing Winston and you are running a Widowmaker and you don't have your Widowmaker sightlines in mind 100% of the time, like you're not doing your job appropriately. That should always be in your mind. And at the same time, that can also be a little bit of a job for the Widowmaker as far as like I tell my Widowmaker to like the Widowmaker needs to ask for what he needs. Think about if you guys haven't seen any comms online from the LA Gladiators, I would definitely recommend checking it out, or even
Oh,
Team
yeah.
Canada. The idea
LA
is
Gladiators is the best.
the idea is any team that Surefour carries. Listen to his comms. He's so bossy. He's kind of an asshole, right? But
that's good.
he knows what he wants and he tells his tanks that, and his tanks do it for him. Like think about like if think about every time you have ever played Widowmaker that you could have popped off if your tanks did a specific thing, right? But your tanks don't know that. You know, they're not seeing what you're seeing. So tell them, right? It's okay. This is scrims. Your teammates aren't going to get upset about you. Like I
Are you sure
understand
about that? I probably would have thrown.
I mean, I understand how it is on ladder, right? Like you're like Winston, why aren't you doing this? And like,
Come on, brother.
and everybody loses their shit, dude. And
Switches
you get
to Torb,
you
and then
you get
Biasm is a
yeah,
resident bully.
and then you get a chat ban or something. Like you know, it's but it's not like that here. Like we're playing for competition. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And if it is, tell us, and we will deal with the
Yeah.
problem promptly. So
Think about soccer, like football for EU. Like think about what the goalie does. Like if you've ever seen a soccer game, like the goalie just is yelling at the defenders the entire time. Like mostly because they're far away and they need to hear him, but he's yelling at them the entire time, and it sounds really toxic. But he's telling them what he wants because he sees everything, right? That's you as Widowmaker. You see everything, so tell them what you want. If you need a pressure dive, say so. You know, if you're struggling a little bit against the Widowmaker, that's okay. Ask for a pressure dive. You know, if you want a specific high ground and there's some people up there, tell your tanks. You know, they're
Widow
there for you.
excels when your tanks work with you as
I
much
like-
as possible.
I feel like my best style, or at least the style that fits my playstyle best, is I tell the tanks the information, and based on their decision, I play around that. So like the space that they're making, I'll make use of that space.
Yeah, the
play
thing
around
is it's not always that cut and dry, as you probably understand in like Widow v Widow, right?
Yeah.
There's the other Widowmaker probably she could be behind you, you know, like
Yeah.
I'm sure you've played against my Widowmaker, Shep or Romanov.
Yeah.
He plays in very weird places, right? And sometimes it may not be something that you know can be avoided with that, with how you're positioned, right? It like maybe you need that person to be pressure dive, and like going back to Shep, like he plays in a lot of places. This is a vulnerability. I'm telling you guys firsthand. Don't tell him I said this. He plays in a lot of positions that are easily easily soft dived. Like a Winston
Yep.
can just you know annoy him, and then you can shoot him in the head. You know, it's
Yeah.
like think about how annoying it is to play as Widow, be in a Widow duel, and Winston's just being annoying, and
Oh,
you're just
yeah.
getting popped while it's happening. You know, like
Oh, yeah,
add,
it's
like
the worst.
like adding that
During
to your
tryouts
repertoire.
is the worst thing because like we
Yeah.
didn't have the coordination, and then I was always the one getting pressure dived.
Yeah, I mean, like, just adding that as something that can be used by you, like adding that into your repertoire, it takes, you know, the good Widowmaker player into, you know, the playoff Widowmaker player, you know? It takes you to the next level. Like, Widowmakers have good aim, you know? Every Widowmaker player at this level has a good aim. But
Well,
this,
that's debatable, but we're not going to
Yeah,
go.
I
don't think
mean,
good aim.
I mean, arguably, you know, like
Well, I changed
I
my
mean,
accounts, so that's
I
why
got
have
my account, my DPS account to like 4250, and I don't. My aim isn't, you know.
oh, I mean, like
Up here,
regardless
if you
of ladder,
master
I don't really give a fuck ever about ladder. It like more so like tournament or like scrim competition,
Yeah,
like kind of where this level is. Like Widowmakers do have good aim, but adding your tanks into that, it just makes you the next best thing, you know?
Yeah, like London.
Yeah, like think
there are
London,
of
3 factors to
Fury
good
and
player.
Gesture made so much space for Bird Ring. It was insane.
That's what's good is if you can combine your tanks with your Widowmaker and you coordinate that, it the goal is to have as much space as possible for your Widowmaker to do her job. And that's really what it's there for. And this is from Surefor, a quote from him, which is there are 3 factors that make a good player: mechanics, game sense, and positioning. To be a grandmaster, you have to have perfected one of these skills. To be a top 500, you need to have perfected 2. And to be a pro player, you need to perfect all 3, which is something that's true. And that goes for more than just Widowmaker, it goes for more than that. But it also comes down to if your tanks have that exact same knowledge, that allows for you as a Widowmaker to make your life easier so you don't have to have the best game sense, the best mechanics. You can have some mediocre mechanics, but you can be the best at everything else and your tanks are excellent and you could do great. But at the exact
yeah,
time, if your tanks lack it and you don't, you probably won't get it. You won't get the same value because you need your tanks to make the space for you.
Yeah, I don't want to have to rely on my teammates. I want to be the kind of person that I don't know, I want my teammates to be able to trust me to do a lot with even little things that I get. So that's why I've been really grinding the Widowmaker to get
And you're
myself.
always gonna have to rely on your tanks.
Yeah.
Always.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like,
Regardless.
not heavily rely on them for everything because they're going to have to do their own things, and sometimes they might be pressured, that kind of thing. So not having to rely on them 100% means that, like, me being able to do my job without them having to pressure their widow means that they're more free to do whatever they need to do.
yeah, and I mean that's definitely a good competitive way to go about it. But the bottom line is sometimes like and these times could be very rare, but sometimes there's just nothing you can do. You know what I mean? I'm sure you've been there. Like as a DPS player, every
Yeah,
DPS player has been there.
I
It
know.
just seems like there's fucking nothing you can do, man. Like
During
either
tryouts, it was quite the slog.
yeah, either their tanks are just running right through you or their Widowmaker is just bodying you, you know. It's no matter what it is, like like dude, like what if like, you know, you run into some famous Widowmaker? Like what if you run into Soon? What if Soon is just kicking your ass? What do you do? You know?
Shoot him in the
Like
face, lol.
you can still you can count like what I'm saying is you can counterplay Widowmakers that are beating you by doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
By and this is why I say comms are a discussion. It's a conversation. Like your tanks are calming when they're taking space, and you're utilizing of the space that they have told you that they've taken. Um, Vice versa, if you need space to be effective, you're letting your tank know what space you need in order to make
Soon,
things happen. You
soon
know?
needs space a lot of the time.
Yeah. Well, think about why LA got shut down.
Did it?
Soon didn't exist for the playoffs, dude. He didn't
Because
exist. He was
like
just getting ran into.
his off tank is space. So I was trying
Mhm.
to make.
when you dive in with the
I'm
tanks
sorry.
against these
It's
monsters,
tough.
so, like,
There's a lot of
no
factors
matter what
that go
Mercy does,
into
like,
it,
if
and we
Yeah,
don't
I
really have
just
a lot of
right
time.
now I'm focusing on mechanics because I think I've gotten a lot better at widow duels
Yeah,
and
yeah. Well,
positioning and stuff. It's mainly mechanics because I position myself in good positions, but then like I can't shoot a widow that's sitting still because I have bad mechanics.
yeah. I mean, well, mechanics is just, you know, how much time are you putting in outside of
Yeah.
scrim time, outside of practice, devoted to that. I'm not talking just playing quick play or playing, you know, the game, playing comp even. I'm talking about sitting there and focusing. Okay, I'm focusing on aim today.
Yeah,
Like
I
this is
have
what I'm
three
doing.
different presets for aiming in custom game. There's a fast preset for faster aims, like if I was to track a Hammond, because I use tracking aim. And then I have a normal preset where everything's normal, so I can just practice like Zens from afar or something. And then I have slow to practice as if I was really far away, like the mini flicks, the very mini flicks, just to make sure I can have it really rounded out.
So it looks like here that we're opting for, again, the heavy dive with a little bit of a variant. We're running the Junkrat and the Zen and Mercy here. This is a little interesting. I think our idea with this, if I'm not mistaken, is to kind of clog choke points and just, like cause a lot of CC and choke points.
This was the first time we were running it, so we didn't exactly do that, but I remember today we were definitely focusing on killing them on the engage. Like as they were trying to walk through the choke, like right after they got through the choke or as they were going through the choke, we dived on them and destroyed them. We did pretty well with that today.
Okay.
Yeah, this was our first scrim with Hammond.
With the dive today with the Hammond. Or on the not
Yeah,
today.
this was the first time.
Yeah, this is the very first time we played with Hammond. So we're still figuring out exactly how it worked.
You guys were our first.
You're welcome.
We're still in the start of this method.
I'm glad I could
In
do
all
this
honesty,
experience for you.
it's Hammond has his uses, but at the exact same time, he has so many downsides that if the enemy team knows how to take advantage of those downsides, playing Hammond is a losing battle 90% of the time.
Yeah, I mean, definitely don't be afraid to pick the Hammond. But
Oh, yeah, like-
at the same time, don't be afraid to switch off the Hammond either. People are staying on him way too long. I understand that we have to learn it, but guys, if it's not working, it's not working.
Yeah, on
I
Lijiang
mean,
Tower,
I still
we did pretty
understand
well
that.
for that. I remember like halfway through, some genius made the call to switch to counter goats because they were running goats on the fish one, the one with the fish.
Night Market.
Yeah. Thanks. So,
Wait, that's the one with fish? I thought it was
Yeah.
the
No,
other
Night
one.
Market is fish.
So,
What?
Anywho,
no, that's not.
I have a
Night Market.
strategy on this
I'm not
map
talking about, like,
particular.
the cooking. I'm talking about like
specifically
with the fish.
specifically for Praxis. Right here, it's kind of tricky. We're looking to dive. We have everybody set up here. So we kind of, in essence, have a crossfire. But I want you to think about how much of the map here isn't utilized. What I like to do here with my team is I position the Zenyatta the top, the Widowmaker spot. I call this strategy Zenyatta Maker.
I think we run Ana a lot, so we.
The reason for this, this goes into like just a competitive mindset of hard countering teams, like how hard countering comps before they happen. Goats is very, very popular here. Your Zenyatta is reachable here. It's not, the easiest to reach him, but he's probably gonna be damaged here. Up here, they probably won't even try. Honestly, I put my Zenyatta up here, and like my whole team died, and he was still up here like shooting people in the back, and he just like got tranced and died. Like, and up here you're able to do so much to goats. You're able to see them on their way in from here, so you have a sight line there. You're able to see them as they get through here, so you still have another sight line. You have a sight line again when they come in, and then you never lose a sight line from them the entire time they're capping the point.
Mm-hmm.
You're so powerful up there.
Yeah, should I like instantly jump down if they have a widow?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
This is why I tell my guy, you see a Widowmaker, you're jumping down.
Yeah.
You see a Pharah, take some shots, but when those rockets come, you're jumping down.
Pretty much any time they don't have goats.
Yeah,
Or,
I mean, well,
maybe if they have full dive, like
you're going up there as a
Tracy.
preventative measure.
Yeah.
If say they have a Widowmaker, she's not gonna, wreck you right away. If you're smart, you're playing the back of it. You probably have somebody up here scouting.
Yeah.
Like you. This is something you should ask too. Like if they have a Widowmaker, let me know.
Mhm.
Like we're looking
sure.
for a Widowmaker.
Yeah.
But if they have one, you just jump down and you're fine, and nothing's
Yeah.
lost. You know,
Yeah.
you're still making this rotation. You could even provide effort from down here, probably at an easier angle for you down here while your Junkrat's up here. You
Mhm.
know, even but if they do run goats, you're already up there, and it's all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
You know,
I think Ana would be great up there. Because you can add that to a log.
Anna's very powerful up there as well. Her nades do a
Mhm.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing is, on this point in particular, I would like to try to implement the triple tank anti-Zen comp as really technically what it is, but it's not really anti-Zen. It effectively counters Zenyatta, but it's triple tank, just standard one healer and the double sniper or the Junkrat instead of the Hanzo. And the reason why here is you can control that flank with the Hog, and you can have the Orisa Diva up here with the Mercy, and then you could have the Widow on top of the high ground where you were mentioning before, or you could have her in the other place you mentioned also. And you can have that and basically create that same effect, same horseshoe effect, without having such a drastic change to that, if you will.
But if they were running goats or like dive goats, then the hog would get completely annihilated.
It's just a theory. I'm not saying we're gonna run it. It was just something
Dive
that
goat.
they're running dive. If they're
Dive
running
goats,
dive
triple tank
goats,
dive.
they're not gonna go for hog. Hog will just destroy Hammond. It's completely useless because the diva comes in last. In theory, the diva should come in last, and the Winston can't stop that damage.
We were running dive goats on attack with the Moira Brigida Lucio.
Halt hook combos are another thing, which is why I think it's pretty strong here. Is
Yeah. Halt hook doesn't work very well on goats count, but it works very well on like
the dive.
standard Rhinzaria.
Well, the reason why I think it works well in dive against this dive in particular is Hammond's required mobility requires him to move into the air at least enough to where he can be pile drive. And because he's in a ball, his momentum cannot really be stopped as much as when he's not. So you could pull him up higher than the shield or the defense matrix and still hook, because defense matrix can't stop the hook.
Yeah, it is pretty good against Hammond.
And it
Zoning out
forces them to
Hammond can
invest more
completely
resources.
destroy a comp.
Yeah, as far as hard counters to Hammond, if you guys are still looking for some, May is one of the biggest.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sombra is another beast.
Yep, that's another one.
There's definitely a lot, and I mean anybody with a stun, of course, because there's absolutely nothing he can do about it. It even stops his fast movement, his top speed movement.
Yep.
Which is really good if a Hammond is infinite contesting around a point. It's always a good idea to give him a stun. So if you're a hero that has a stun, you should always be looking to use it on Hammond whenever you see him, because it's pretty much death for him.
Yeah. And Hammond's easily countered, but that's the reason why you do the three tanks. So you can cover up some of those weaknesses. Not all of them, but as much as you can. So. Anywho, go ahead.
Or are they moving? Are they moving alley?
I think they're running goats. Yeah, they're goats. Regular goats.
The regular goats. We would have known.
I might die here.
Praxis, you would have known everything. You would have seen them go all the way around if you were up there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Furthermore, you would have been the first to be able to deal with them.
Yeah.
You would have been doing so much opening damage because they have to cross all of them, and they probably don't want to utilize speed boosts yet. And you're at minimum risk. You're at risk most from the diva. She's the only one that can really deal with you. At the same time, your Mercy would have been in position to pocket you without risk, and even get up to you and help fortify this area. But this is why this area is so strong. They did run out with goats.
Up there with teleporter, electric teleporter.
It's iffy. The thing I always say with goats is kite them away, make them run as much as possible, because goats tires out. The way to beat goats is to damage it before it's able to damage you.
That's why Widow
Un-
and Farah are very useful again.
Yeah, unfortunately, if we're all just up here and we don't have a way of contesting the point, they're just gonna cap the point, right? Unless we kill them quick enough, and they're just gonna get ticks if we keep doing that. We still need to have some presence, but just kite them. So right here, our tank should be thinking about utilizing this portion of the map. They've chosen to do this. That's fine. We just have to make them run as much as possible. So this back corner of the point we're playing with, we're utilizing our movement ability to get away from the brig. We're messing with the back line some more. But we're just making this composition move. And the more they move, the more Zen's gonna do, the more Junkrat's gonna do. The more we're just gonna chip them down. And that's how we need to beat goats.
And Junkrat Tire is a very good counter to goats
Mm-hmm.
because it
There,
can effectively
well,
take out that fight.
well, you're getting it. You're gonna get Junkrat Tire instantly. Look, you already almost have it, and you've
Yeah.
landed what, like 3 shots?
Oh yeah, it's because the massive bodies and they're all just
Yeah.
blowing up each other. But
Like
again, it's just Junkrat's a key factor to beating
the
goats.
Zen should also be getting it quickly. You're also able to, by the way, shoot over his shield, like pretty much as soon as he rounds the corner from up here. So there's absolutely nothing they're able to do about you and face your team, and they're probably more concerned about the Junkrat. So you're probably just able to free shoot. This is good. We should be commenting that we're looking to use tire because we pretty much have it, and that's also something you need to think about DPS. You know that you can get ult quickly, like when you can get ult quickly. So if you can, like 78%, they're all in this hallway. Junkrat should be coming right now. I mean, it should be in his mind. As a good player, I believe that it's in his mind that he's looking to use tire soon, right? So calm that. You're like, I'm looking to use tire. This could, start getting in our tank's minds that we need to start looking for an opportunity. We need to start making an opportunity for our Junkrat, or we need to save movements and go in with the tire. Something needs to happen here, but this doesn't need to happen on its own, Every ultimate can be helped by your teammate in some way. There's something the Mercy can do. There's something everybody can keep in mind while you ult.
Nice half. Half tire. Got 2.
That's a big tire.
That was central.
I mean, that's goats. If the Junkrat gets tired before you kill people, you lose.
You can block her. Alright.
By the way, Hammond,
Which is why when you run modified goats, you don't want to. If they have a Junkrat, you don't want to run modified goats into it. Period. Because they'll never win with that.
Yeah, playing against goats is all about utilizing the long sight lines. I want you guys to think here about
I was talking about modified goats. Do you know what modified goats is?
like goats with the Hanzo or
Oh,
something
no.
like that.
Oh no. So okay,
Goats
modified goats is you replace the Moira with the Zen.
Oh, okay.
It's for more burst.
It's for more burst and the ultimate of Transcendence. That's what it's
Yeah,
there
and yeah. So I do know that. That's very, very high risk. I hate that comp. My team tried to run it and I yelled at them.
It's
Um,
okay on
for.
King
Why
of
it's
the
high
Hill.
risk.
I think it's better on King of the Hill than any other map.
Oh yeah, that's where it should be run mostly is King of the Hill.
Yeah, I could understand it. It's similar to like an old strategy in King of the Hill where you would run like a Zenyatta and like 3 divas. This was when you could run multiple divas and like a
Let's not
Lucio
go
or
there,
2
'cause
Lucios.
that was
Yeah.
broken. That was broken as all get out. I remember.
Yeah, the pro scene was really, really interesting back then. But
By interesting, you mean select as many of Diva or Ryan or Zarya or Bastion as possible and just set them up.
I'm a Lucio main, man. I just loved all the Lucio.
I hated Lucio back then.
But anyway, the beauty of this game is you can press tab and see if the enemy switches. Right now they have not. And this spawn is an incredibly long sight line. It wouldn't be out of the realm of, of reason for the Junkrat to be spamming right now. Down range. It sounds crazy for a VoD analyzer to be telling you this, but
No,
yeah,
not
go
really.
go shoot at their spawn right now. You know, make them switch off of this shit. It's stupid. Punish them for this comp.
And if not, at least make them invest the resources so they can't get to choke
Yeah,
easily.
somebody thinks they're slick and switches to Widowmaker. Like, thanks, idiot. You lost your ult. If like at the least, and like you can press tab and just know if they switch to
And
something
then
that
just
can
back away and
punish
get
you.
out of line of sight.
Yeah, with like 30, what is that? 38% ult charge. Like it's totally within reason that we need to be farming right now. I mean, that goes
You're in a
for like
poke battle again.
Praxis. If you aren't repositioning, you should be doing that. You should probably fall back way earlier, but if you're not playing that high ground, I don't see why. If you're playing over there, I don't see why you're not doing that. Diva could throw her E.
High risk, high
Hammond could
reward
shoot
again.
a little bit.
They're still on goats. Just do the same thing, I guess. They're moving alley again.
Why are you you don't need to play like this.
They're still on goats.
Like it sounds really stupid, but
Just do the same thing.
they can't shoot at you, man.
Thing
You don't need to
Moving
compromise
up.
vision here for being safe. Like peeking down like this, you don't need to.
Moving alley again.
I don't know if you
It
know,
is-
but Susanoo isn't healed right now.
Oh, okay.
He's
Well,
gonna-
I mean,
he's probably gonna
we're
watch it back,
yeah, we're recording and
Yeah,
we're
he's-
recording it for
see
everyone.
what I'm missing.
but
yeah, okay.
Just wanna let
So he's gonna see it, but I'm just gonna talk like he is. I mean, and that goes for all of you. Like Praxis has a good idea. He's, you know, if there was like a Hanzo here, he'd be dead, right? But he's up front. He knows that he can't be bothered. You can get up front here too and line up really good spam. I don't want to say shots because that's not what he does. But
spams.
really, yeah, really good spam up in here. Like
He's gonna
like
get
you
really
can,
accurate spam.
yeah, you can even get him down this angle a little bit. Like you can hit him more, you know. So why aren't you? Because they can't shoot back. They're not going to. You don't need to peek down like that.
Yeah, just talk to you. Talk to you. Push ahead.
I have trans.
Yo, Ryan Discord point. Okay? Go Ryan. Just
He's supposed to have HP. Aurora's dead.
I just remember how broken that ability is sometimes, and it makes me laugh.
Ooh,
The ultimate.
this yeah, and it's especially good against goats. And
Oh,
the
yeah.
reason for that is goats is only good when they're clumped up. And if they're clumped up, they're in that like
They're
nice.
dead.
Yeah, I walled off their Ryan with a volley of bombs.
Yeah, Hammond this is really good, especially when you combine it with height because the timer starts when you release it.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you launch it up top and then you use your smash ability for a little bit of hang time, they're dropping, you're smashing, CCing, and then the bombs become active, and then your enemies realize that they're in a minefield and there's
That's
nothing
one
they can
thing
do about it.
And they
I
die.
need to perfect is that sometimes I accidentally slam before I ult, and then it's less effective. Because I do that combo, and it's always more effective when I do that combo. But
Yeah,
sometimes I
that
can't
combo's good,
accidentally slam
and
first.
even if you can't pull the combo off, or it's not in a place that you can pull, that you can see like a movement option that you can do. What I tell Hammond players is just put your ult in between their main tank and their back line. Just put it right in between, because what's going to happen? They just heard an ult. Their tank's going to instinctively move back while people move up to help them, and then they're dead.
Boom.
And then what if they don't do that? Say okay, these are really good players. They recognize that the Hammond ult has been placed in between their Reinhardt,
You can sandwich
and maybe
them.
Zarya is with him. Let's say Zarya is with him, and then their backline. Well, now we've effectively done what the ult, says it does, and we've zoned off their tanks, and they're
Clearing
not
the
dead.
area.
Yeah,
Or you've zoned
Just
off the
trap.
supports. You can also go both ways.
Alright, we can
absolutely.
stagger.
You can
Alright,
completely
I'm gonna
demolish
start
the
next
support
fight.
line.
Yeah, and if you guys are looking for a counter to that ultimate specifically, and it sounds really fucking stupid, this bullshit right here.
Oh, yeah,
Nope,
you just
that
ran
is
into it.
actually common sense.
You just run
That's-
into it.
Well,
Yeah,
see,
just
I did try and do that once, but it launched me in the air.
Another
100 miles in the air.
another
Oh
thing.
no, I don't know if I got booped. No, I legitimately don't know if I got booped or what, but I literally flew through the skybox.
One,
Trans in the middle of
I saw like a
I don't
bug
know what happened.
or something with the Ryan. Like you can put his shield. Like even if you're walking backwards, if you have your shield up and you walk through the minefield, like it'll take damage on the shield, yeah, but you can still clear a minefield even if you're walking backwards. I don't know what that is, but like.
I think it's a bug.
Also very yeah, that's a bug. That's a bug right there. But Doomfist Ultimate is also pretty good. Again, it's a wasted ult, and it's completely wasted. But
I mean,
you can clear it out that
if
way.
if Hammond pops his ult and your team is taking damage and you're going to lose the fight because your team is taking too much damage, and you have this ult, why wouldn't you use it?
I
You know?
did like legitimately one time I called like, "Hey, I'm using trans in the minefield. It's gonna clear the mines," and then I flew off like way into the sky, and I was like, "What? I don't even know what happened
That's
here."
a bug.
Like
that's
I mean,
probably
he is from
wonky Blizzard
space.
physics.
yeah, I was,
but you
like,
can
so
It's like Sims
confused.
bugs.
yeah,
From space, so it makes sense.
just jump in it. Just be focused. Take out as many as you can. You know, like everyone is a fucking threat. I mean, even like say your monkey if he happens to be ulted or you happen to like know you can do it safely. Like take a couple mines. You know, it's not gonna kill you. It might, but like don't let it kill you. That
It's
would
like
be
130 damage, so you could take 3 of them and use
yeah.
it.
It like say like only do that of course when the Zen is trancing, but I mean the monkey can take a couple, you know.
Wait, Hamid ult is insane against goats.
Yes, it is.
It is.
A big brain Susanoo.
Big brain Susanoo coming in.
But I thought that, and that's why I used it.
Nah.
He didn't
I
say
think
it.
I should
No
wait.
credit goes to me.
I'm gonna use Tire.
Now I called Tire. This should be a good time to bond. That's unfortunate.
I killed the Reinhardt.
Yeah, nothing happens with Segraph.
Nice.
Huge.
Break Discord, no back.
Now, the big thing with this fight is we invest the trance. That's fine. We invest the tire. That's also fine. And we invest the Diva Bomb, but that's also fine. But I don't know if we were all on the same page that we were going to use these 3 ults, right? Because maybe we wouldn't have used them all together. There's still roughly, okay, we're right here. There's still roughly 2 minutes left in this game. Their team is coming on ults. They're hoping to combo out with a grab here.
Nah. I think I should wait.
Okay, so we've just come. This is good. This is a really good call. They have 3 tank ults. Okay, so they're gonna have Bomb, they're gonna have Reinhardt, and they're gonna have Zarya here. So these are 3 ults that they confirmed have. They probably don't have Rally, right? They used that the last fight.
They have Moira ult, most likely.
They definitely have Moira ult.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
It's good. And they may even have Lucio.
I would say Lucio's
Yeah.
iffy. If he doesn't have ult, he'll have it after this fight. So
Sure
we'll just say that we're coming on Lucio. Meanwhile, we have this, which we are going to use this fight. So let's just keep this in mind. Keep in mind what this looks like.
I think I should wait. I'm gonna use Tire.
How many upwards are we getting first?
We pop the tire.
I killed the Reinhardt.
Trans. They pop bomb.
Okay, so they use bomb. They opted for the weird fucking. I hate this combo, dude, because it never works.
It works if you get stunned, but
good like we are.
I mean, it works if you like devote a lot. I mean, but like there's so much better shit you can just. It's better in my opinion to even shatter with this. Like that's even more of a sure thing.
Valuable, though.
Why not use all 3?
Investing Diva Ball dot bomb is low risk.
Okay, so no, so how you use shatter, how you combo shatter with grab is the shatter comes first, and then the grab comes in to make sure that the shatter gets followed up on.
See,
and
that's
then,
the opposite of what I heard.
And then what happens here is you get shatter back, you have shatter back after the grab, ideally.
Generally, if you shatter people, you just kill them, and then it's like you don't. Once you shatter people, if you get like a good shatter, you don't
What
really
if
need
it's
to
a
grab.
Yeah, I mean,
healing in the back lane?
this
they
is
have a
this is
trance.
say this is say something that we like to do like early in games. You know, if we realize we're up in ults, we want to go for like a for sure take. We want to just take the point. This you know it could be a good combo, but essentially this shit it just fucking it always fails, dude. It always fails. It fails more than any other combo I see. I hate it.
I'm just on there with people in the
We
back.
do it pretty well. it seems.
So we've effectively invested all our ults. Meanwhile, they've invested too.
Nice.
Break Discord, no back.
We called no more ults, but we don't have any ults. You know, we used them all that fight. We now have a minute and a half game coming up by the time they all respawn. We now have like a minute 20 by the time they get back, and they're gonna have how many did they use? They use 2 ults, right? So they're still gonna have 2 ults coming into this fight. Meanwhile, we have none. Think about the beginning of a game if you just like instantly have 2 ults, like what that does.
Ult economy, basically.
Yeah,
You've over invested in an economy.
yeah.
Ultimates that you shouldn't have, and that causes y'all to have a disadvantage next
I
fight.
mean, you guys are good. So of course, you know, and in competition, you should always play to compete. But coming from a purely analytical standpoint, they now have a gigantic advantage. Like there's if that team is playing a mirror game with you, if they're on the same page as you, they should take this point right now.
You're saying as if like if we're equally matched.
Dude, I'm
That's
so.
what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, ult economy in this game, like think about economy in any game viable in esports. Economy is so important. Economy in CS:GO, economy in League of Legends or progression. Like economy in this game is all about the ults, and if you're down in ults, it's kind of like losing kind of the mini game. You know, there's always like a little mini game going on of ult charge. One team is always managing it better than another.
But
And
not to be outdone by also the fact that you can win even with an ult disadvantage off of picks. Well, it's important to have ult economy advantage. If you get picks before those ultimates can be used, you have effectively made the ult economy useless. So
yeah,
picks before
it's gonna be the difference between winning and losing more times than none. You know, you just don't want to take those chances. You always want to see the ults coming, and you always want to have an idea of how your ults are going to either respond or how you're going to preemptively use your ults. It's so important because like think about what it does. Think about if this was a brand new game right now, and for you guys it is because we don't have any ults. This is a brand new game for us, but they just spawned with 2 ultimates. Wouldn't you expect them to take the point?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It like that's how economy works, and it works in the way that if you guys run out of ults, you better hope that they don't realize that. But at this level, I mean,
It's
you should
ridiculous.
expect them to. They should be tracking your ults as well.
They did not use shatter, so they're gonna have shatter.
There's nothing they can do against
any
me.
level above masters, they should be keeping track of ults.
Yeah, to an
Standard.
extent.
Never mind. I'm gonna be more bullet style.
Ryan's gonna go for shatter on point.
One thing, I don't know if this is good or not, but one thing I'd consider for Zenyatta when trancing is their guaranteed value. Like, one thing that I like to do when I'm playing Zen on the ladder is I like to wait for my team to get like below half before I trance, just to guarantee that there's a little bit of value. And a lot of the time, people will also invest to follow up on those kills, so that means they're going to be out of position when I pop my trance. And then there's also the fact that the Diva's insta-kill potential means that if you pop trance and that Diva ult is successful, it'll just be a wasted ult.
I would say it's situational. I mean, there's times that there there's times that like your intuition should kick in, and you should know that if you pop trance when that Ryan is 50 HP, he's gonna die still. We've all seen
Yeah.
those times where you need
Oh,
to
yeah.
pop trance early,
Mhm.
if anything. But I mean, definitely like it's like I'm sure if you timed every trance ever popped, you know, like there's not one on like the correct time, you know.
Mhm.
It's it's very Twitch movement.
Yeah, it's heat of the moment.
It's yeah, it's
Situational
a
to
very
everything.
very fast thing. Um, like as far as defaults, I would say a good one to guarantee value or to guarantee not waste or waste trance is to gauge the distance of their tanks to the play. If their tanks are able to maintain uh like where it's happening, where you're trancing, your trance might get out damaged. For instance, like if you get grabbed and their Reinhardt's in your face, it's probably not a good idea to trance because they're gonna out damage it.
Yeah.
Are you assuming that there's also a Hanzo?
I mean, assuming that there's some sort of DPS
Because like Hanzo ult was
follow up as far as ultimate.
yeah, you
Hanzo
don't
ult can
use-
almost out damage trans in itself.
well,
Almost.
yeah, it equalizes basically, and then if there's any extra follow up with like a Rhine or just like the Hanzo and Rhine spamming together, that's all you really need to kill some people.
Yeah, I mean, the point is the Reinhardt makes a space, right? And if that space is in your face and you're unable to move, that's a very, very bad thing.
Mhm.
Because first of all, the Reinhardt's able to dish out a fuck ton of damage to you. And second of all, his DPS are gonna be behind him. You know, if not, it's stupid. The Zarya is at least behind him because the Zarya grabbed you, right? But there's gonna be follow up wherever the Rhine is, assuming they're all alive. So if you're caught in a grab and like the Rhine's in your face, trancing is just ooh, like just don't do it. Just take the L.
Yeah,
You know,
that's why
if
I'm
they
thinking like the best thing to do if we know they have Zarya Hanzo combo is we take the fight early and like an early choke and make them use that combo, and then we come back with trance so we have an advantage.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, there's definitely gonna be times where I use it in the wrong place, and
I mean that happens.
I've been
It's
trying
unavoidable.
to like find those situations. And I think the tank thing is a good tip that will help some with that. But also, there's times where trans is like purely used reactionarily, and like they can even burst down a Rhine that's full HP while you're in the
yeah,
middle of trans.
I
Like,
mean,
I'm not.
there's sometimes that no matter how good of an idea it seems, so there's some times where people are just gonna fucking die like right in front of you.
Yeah,
You know, like
especially if
so
there's
many
a widow.
times,
I
like
mean, like sometimes people just pop off. It
yeah,
happens.
yeah. So
Yeah,
sometimes people pops off. Sometimes an annonade like falls from the sky and hits everybody in the trance. Like you never know. But the thing is that if it's a situation that you feel as a player that you should trance, then do it. But you should have like a thought process to it. You know, like you should have an idea of why you're trancing.
mm-hmm.
it's mainly experience. Like, did this work last time in the same scenario? And
I tried.
overall, I think you do pretty well. I just wanted to ask that question to like,
He might get
if you
trapped.
got any more ideas.
Yeah, that the tank thing is a good idea that I can keep in mind future.
Zarya's one.
So we trade mercies here.
Goats and Mercy, huh?
Zarya.
We've now taken out like the leader, right? Like the raid leader. Like the ghost comp is broken. They're spread up. It's time to mop
Red
up.
goats
Now
and
as a
Mercy.
team, yeah, now as a team it is important. Like it's always been important, but it's important more than ever during the cleanup to finish this cleanly. Like we need to be on page with one another. So
Zarya's still one. Reaper's trapped.
Reaper is trapped,
Yeah.
so we're all focusing the Reaper.
Let's go
Good.
try and
Watch out, it's still May at main.
Okay. So we've won the fight. We should be
I'm
kind
gonna
of
retire
just
for next
resetting
fight.
right now.
They still don't have much to get it.
This composition
yeah, at this point they were trying to hard counter the Hammond dive.
he's the one. Yeah, that has
and I wasn't
Which
used to
Reaper is
fighting that.
actually
sorry
not
now.
that good at hard countering him. And regardless of his
Can you jump on
massive
him?
hitbox,
Wait.
he's good.
He's
He's
a
not
fast tire.
Alright.
Now, I don't think
Right.
that Junkrat
Alright.
players take this into account as much, because I mean, the idea here probably right, like,
They still don't have much.
and hey, Susanoo, he's here.
It's
So you can
Suzanne.
correct me if I'm wrong.
Susanoo.
Dude, hi. You're my
Have
The
much
favorite.
idea
game.
is that we're popping the tire, they're walking through choke, and we're gonna hit them because they're running in. But think about what we do as a team when the tires popped. It's the tires popped, we're all grouped up. Okay, it's just time to kite back. The reason for this is we don't want to engage while the tire's running around, right? It's just reactionary. I don't think players take this into account enough. The reason for that is when the tire goes through this choke, it becomes a lot more likely that it's going to be shut down. The tire is going to dominate in this entire zone here. But as soon as it goes to this choke, you're now opening yourself to potential sightlines from everywhere. The tire isn't able to climb up anything. It's not able to really effectively hide. You want to think about where the tire dominates, and I think you did. Because I think the idea was that they were going to run through here and we're going to hit them here. But just take into account how much they're going to kite back. Even just hanging on to this for a second and letting it develop, this is going to be the last fight anyway. So, I mean, letting the play develop a little bit probably wouldn't be a horrible thing here, you know? They're not going to aggressively dive onto you. They don't have a comp for that. They're going to try and run in. So make them invest their movement ability. Make them invest their Lucio speed boost, which is their entire team's movement ability at this point. Make them invest that and make them make a decision. Do I want to commit fully while this tire is happening? If not, they're going to have to disengage with the Lucio speed boost. And that's silly. So they're not going to do that. So you're going to get a free tire on everybody while they're fighting your team, which is even better. You know? I know we're probably going to get a kill here because we're good. But we're just thinking about ways we can optimize
Maybe
this
sorry
play.
now. Can you jump on him?
And especially because we're going for this long one. Of course they're going to kite back. And they know you're coming up from up here. The May's already shooting at it.
Alright.
But now, I mean, out here, as soon as we come through that choke, everybody can shoot at us. They don't because they're bad.
Or they
But-
just don't have the good game knowledge. Because
Yeah.
honestly,
The
they were
Mercy
not
was right
smart.
there. I would have rather gone for the Mercy
Yeah.
than wait for the bubble to end.
Which again is
Yeah,
something
it's-
minor, but it causes a big impact later on.
Yeah, I mean, getting only one kill here wouldn't really slow them down much if it's
Plus,
not the Mercy,
can't
right?
res herself.
I mean, I think it would slow them down a lot here, considering they have 16 seconds. So I feel like you get the mercy, that's like pretty big.
Yeah, the Mercy,
so, I
the
mean,
only reason why that one pick would actually be effective is the Mercy. Because the Mercy would respawn and they would have almost no time to get back.
especially in Ultimate like Tire, where we're pretty much looking to get a guaranteed kill. You should have someone in mind. 100%, no doubt. Like they said, it probably should be Mercy here. So I mean, this play should have probably been in your mind to start with. So let's just make sure that with every tire we pop, with every time we have an ult that singles someone out, like a tire, maybe a tracer sticky, we have someone in mind, and we have a reason for that someone. We just gave all very good reasons why Mercy's a good target to take out here. Taking out a single target here, waiting for the bubble to go down, say the May's still an ice block, and we get the Ryan with the Mercy reses, and the fight's still on. We take out the Mercy, we win this game. And she's just as easy here, you know?
Right, Hyde's dead.
I'm pretty sure they res him.
Praxis frags out on the Reaper, so this is good. And I mean, our team is knowledgeable enough to make the space and push
To make
forward.
sure that
This
they
is
can
really
play
good.
such a fucking strong composition. There's no way to beat it.
Yeah, I really like that about the VoDs that I have seen of you guys. Taking away reses from Mercy is so important, right? But even more so important than that is what are you doing when Mercy is guaranteed going to res, right? If there's a res that you can't take away, And this is gonna be the last one. I don't want to hold you guys for over 2 hours because that can get sort of exhausting. I know, and my voice is lulling. I've heard. But but
It's okay, man. I do this a lot, so.
but
he leaves us all alone.
Our main tank. How do you pronounce your name, man? It's been bugging me.
Hism.
Hism.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
Hism.
So, Hism, think about how many times you've died because you weren't getting healing, and then the Mercy says, "Sorry, I was rezzing."
like a bunch.
Like a bunch, right? It's really fucking annoying, right? What if I told you as a team, if you like think about all the times that you know that the enemy Mercy is gonna res, but there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah,
Okay.
you kill
So-
someone else.
Yeah, well, so while this is happening, let's make an aggressive push towards the main tank. Let's make it a little bit scary for him.
Yeah.
And what this is gonna effectively do is, if we don't kill him, that's fine. The fight's still on, but guess what's happening? The main tank
gonna
is
come
weak,
back up.
so he has to give up so much space. We've effectively won space. The game isn't about, like, contrary to popular belief, it's not about winning team fights, and it's not about getting limbs. You know, it's not about any of that. It's not even about winning team fights. Everybody thinks it's about that and only that. The game is about space and only space. Only
And it's
space
like
matters.
C9s.
Yeah.
Where you can win a team fight, but get off the payload for a second, and then
It
it's capped.
it probably won't happen, but you could win a game without killing anybody. You know.
Yeah.
It's all about the space you can take. If
Just use CC and perfectly combo it to get him.
yeah,
off.
yeah. If your Widow gets an awesome pick in the back line, sweet. Their Mercy's probably gonna res it. Like, good. Combat. Like, Mercy's resing, we're pushing their tanks. But yeah. Other than that, I don't want to keep you guys over 2 hours. Sort of gets exhausting. But
I have one thing that I want you to look at, just like the
Okay.
beginning of Lijiang Control Center, or not Control Center. Sorry, no, it's Lijiang Tower, Night Market.
do you have a timestamp?
I do not.
Okay. Let me
It's like
just
3/4 of the way there, I think.
Just find it, lol.
Let's find it now.
Just find a
Mori's
cap.
1 HP, no fade.
Oh, really? Let's see if we find
On
it.
tomorrow.
Mercy, how Mercy 1.
Okay, this is the map. Oh, this is a night market.
Wait, why is there a cap?
What the?
What?
This isn't a what? What?
This is night
What
market.
do you mean? No, this. Wait. Yeah,
Do you want garden or
What is this?
which one do you want? This one?
this one.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think this is where that thing happened that is cool.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was this game.
Five comp.
Mhm.
Here instead of the mercy.
Yeah, I figured. Same.
And instead of the Pharah,
Oh.
go maybe Junkrat or something a little more.
Lag.
Okay, I want to see this comp. All right, so again, we're going for the heavy dive with a little bit of a variable. We're going for the Junkrat here. What's the sort of plan with this?
Let's see there. It's mostly Brian who does team comps, and he's not here, unfortunately.
I'm not curious.
Yeah, we didn't really know
What's
what
the
to
map?
run.
Yeah, a lot of the scrim, unfortunately, was like we're deciding what we're gonna do, like literally seconds before the gate opens.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't
So
talk
This
about
is-
it at
they
all.
weren't
Yeah.
super thought
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, this is something that needs to be discussed, like in the like dude, I totally
We figured it
understand.
out.
2 hour scrims. I mean, we're all friends, right? Like a 2 hour scrim, there's gonna be some messing around, right? But in the character selection menu, it's go time. There's stuff to do there, you know? Like
Yeah.
I tell my guys no downtime, none, not during scrims. Like you guys
Oh
are
my
figuring that
God.
shit out.
Oh, I thought that was from Susanoo's stream.
Yeah, no,
So-
for sure. And there was a couple times in the scrum specifically where I was like, okay, what are we running, guys? Because they were talking either about last map, there's some goofing around, some.
Yeah,
So,
so
like-
we're going for the heavy dive again here.
Mhm.
With a little bit of a shakeup, we're running we're running small heals, so we have to keep that in mind. This engage has to be quick, and we're opting for a sort of unsure damage source on select targets, which, I mean, I personally see a little bit troublesome. It's there's no way for you to guarantee following up with what's going on with all this, which is what it's about. I would say this that okay, go ahead.
With the knowledge I have now of like what's going on with the changes in the new heroes and stuff, we would probably run Lucio Mercy rather than Zen Lucio. But
oh my god,
it's still we were still figuring out stuff, so it was somewhat experimental.
This was like day one.
Yeah.
This was completely out of beyond standard.
Yeah, we maybe want a little bit bigger heals here, but the general idea is the same. I mean, as even more so with the Zen is we're going balls to the wall in, and then we have Junkrat. You know, like.
Oh my god, Praxis!
I would say a good way to follow up on this damage is either reliable range source and maybe the Widow, maybe the Hanzo, even the McCree. We run this comp with the McCree actually a lot of the time on King of the Hill. Or you're going with them, you know, you're running the Sombra, you're running the Tracer, you're even running the Doomfist, the Genji, of course. All these are great options here, but you want to make sure that you have a sure way to follow up on what's going on, all that chaos they're causing. See, even right now, they're fighting in this hallway. They're taking damage to the point that their main healer is here, and we're spamming, you know, the wall. We're not getting effective focus fire done on what's being called, which is what will crack this comp. If people get off the same page, this comp cracks. Furthermore, Strike, you need to be with your tanks at all times. Your job in this comp is to help the tanks chase people around.
All right.
Like,
that's why I recommended the Junkrat, is because the spam allows for him to quickly get in the ultimate, which is basically a team-winning ultimate every time.
I'm not so sure because he can't follow up. I'd rather have a Genji.
The ultimate is definitely good. I mean, especially since it builds really fast. It's too fast to shoot. It just fucking nerf it already. You know, like it needs to be nerfed. It's very, very good. But the point is this comp is now broken because of the Junkrat. I mean, it's broken for other reasons too. The Lucio needs to go. But this comp is officially broken because of the Junkrat, where we don't have sure follow through, which is this slot's job in this comp.
I'm just gonna deny Widow here.
This is why also I was gonna choose Genji, but this was like the first day and I was not even sure myself.
Yeah, I mean this is you know, this is why we call it heavy dive. It's still dive, you know. You're still in or you're not. So now we're in a place that Junkrat can really shine, which is good.
This is it.
We should be looking to mop up here and like immediately retake choke where Junkrat can be effective.
Oh boy.
But
Jeez, that flying Reaper.
I'm gonna imagine that this is more of like a mid-range DPS, maybe say McCree, and we're just gonna look at what the dive probably should be doing. Yeah, soldier's also a really good option here.
Yeah, prevent them from taking high ground.
Let's just like analyze my my player's hand a bit.
Okay.
I think they're going top.
This is making me watch a quick Call of Duty ad, so.
Feels sad, man.
Yeah,
Ad block for the win.
Right side?
Yeah.
But then Call of Duty doesn't make its money.
Who cares about Call of Duty?
Then how are they gonna make Call of Duty 9?
Oh no, you mean Call of Duty 9000?
I don't even know what they're on.
Yeah, it's too many.
No, I don't care.
Eating point. Nice, nice. He's just half.
Rip stream.
I mean, this even right here,
Nothing in
like
top.
you don't need to invest anything here as far as spamming this hallway or like taking your eyes off this. You have somebody here. Like utilize your teammates more. Everybody needs to utilize their teammates more. Like you can just ask Winston, are they up top? Are they up top? I don't see them. Are they up top? And then you Winston be like, no, they're not up top. Okay, well maybe they're right. You know, we can deduce this quicker than unloading a magazine onto here. You know, like doing it yourself. Like you don't need to do that yourself. You have somebody right here who can do it for you. He can just turn around and look, and then he can tell you yes or no. And then if you realize no, and you're still looking down this, and hey, you don't see them, oh, they must be somewhere else.
Top.
We can deduce this a lot quicker.
Where is she? I don't see them.
Yeah, I still don't see them. Maybe they're going right side. Alright.
They're going up.
Yeah, they're going main,
they're
main,
going up
main.
top. They're main.
They're main, main.
Dive McCree. McCree's going left.
Hammond Discord. Hammond.
Haven't half.
See, this is where this is why this in this comp is super tricky. We're calling the Hammond and we're trying to. You're the main damage dealer in this comp. You're the only damage. You're the only DPS in this comp. You're trying to do damage to him. But
Haven't half.
the damage is so unsure on this hero. It can't work in dive. And this is a different type of dive.
Eating point. Nice, nice. He's just half. He's just half. Winston's on point. Winston's on point alone. He's 1 HP, nice. Alright.
Can we go to Volskaya where I juggled and ulting Mori off the map?
Do you have a time?
Just like rewind back to where I killed 5 people, and let's just dissect that.
He's 1 HP. Half die now.
All the way left. If you see anybody going left, we should go on them. I was actually very proud of that. It was very fun to just steamroll
can't
right
see
through
them.
them and
That
catch
was
them.
pretty poggers.
Yeah. At the time, I had no idea
I'm
what I was
excited.
doing, but it works.
I'm on Hyman.
And I heard no pre-fight discussion that we were using this.
Left, we should go on them.
Like, I mean, you probably had decided beforehand that this tire is going to be in use this fight. Probably preferably towards the beginning of the fight so we can guarantee, you know, being up. But this wasn't calm to your team. Your teammates aren't able to prepare mentally or positionally for your tire. So what happens is very peculiar.
I can't see them.
They're coming from a lot of different angles, and it sounds like we start to get confused. Okay, so there was a little bit of a discussion. You said pop tire now.
I'm on Hyman.
We call the Hammond, but your diva uses her movement ability to go high ground. Your Lucio is following up, but nobody else is following up on this call.
Strike's a 1-woman army.
I go in deep, dude. I'm gonna shotgun it. Oh.
The Winston's half.
That's what he
Winston
said.
Primal.
Just remember, guys. I guess moral of the story.
Winston's on point. Winston's trap.
Communicate ultimates.
Can burn him. We can only
Yeah,
do one.
communicate ultimates and moral of the story. Don't forget that this comp is still dive. You got to play it like dive, you know, like you guys. I mean, everybody can dive. You guys know how to dive. I've seen you guys dive. Like, this is still just dive. We're all jumping in on one person, and we're all just getting in on one person.
If you could see our Numbani dive second point, you'd be very happy.
Oh yeah, you'd be much more.
I was really good Arissa at diving. I was a really good diver.
You did great, man.
You can dive with Arista now. That's
Like
Yeah, but we were running
It's a
Bastion on card.
possibility. It's a
yeah, we were
possibility.
running Orisa
but-
Bastion. second part.
Yeah, I love the Orisa dive with Symmetra. It's so stupid. It's so weird. It's so weird that you don't know what to do at the time, you know?
Symmetra
When
has
Orisa
this
just pops up
weird
out of
way.
nowhere. Yeah,
Symmetra in
I
this
don't
new
like
meta has a
Symmetra.
weird way.
Symmetra whack, bro.
That's what we did on defense in the bunny.
I'll see it. No.
Dude, I just 1v3 2 skeletons and a zombie.
Holy tire.
This is worth it.
Nice job.
For
Wait,
you.
what? Let me see. Let me see. Let me see.
Pretty much just
Everyone died to
hanging
the
out
ult.
at this point.
I can't
Wow,
see anything.
ruining
Like,
your
the
stats
bus was
much.
best. It was everything was blowing
In
up.
custom game slow.
Fucking custom game stats. Bro.
But anyway, guys, I think you guys get the point for the most part of what to work on. I've already discussed the main take in the off tanks conversation.
By the way,
That
is
should
the
be
discussion recorded or like did I miss everything?
We recorded it.
Yeah, we
yeah,
recorded it.
we-
Okay, okay.
It was
We
all
recorded
nice
it.
and simple until we all started realizing we could react to the emotes, and then it just went
It got
downhill.
very
It
complicated.
just went downhill after that. Example.
but you guys definitely get the gist.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. It was actually